Okay, good morning guys. For those here already, slightly early, let me know that you can hear me. Please let me know about the lag. We did a test yesterday. It should have come right down now. If it's not right down, I'm going to close this stream and restart it again. So you should be experiencing just a few seconds of lag, not 20 seconds like before. Just let me know. How bad is the delay, guys? Chris and John already here. Is it a few seconds, like 5 seconds, or is it still right up at 20 seconds? Just let me know. If it's bad, I'm just going to shut the stream and reopen it because we did a test yesterday and we got it right down. Once I get an answer, I will start to do some detail on where we're at in the charts. Amazing. All right, fantastic. That's what we were hoping for. Thanks to Coop for that. That was all his doing, fixing that. Okay, so let's go over this, where we are on the charts. News candle right now. All right, 10 a.m. news currently hitting the wire. Okay, so in the room, we were flat into this. We are watching this order block here, all right, to see if this is the manipulation. So in the room, we were talking about a potential W forming for this breakout. Okay, and can we hold this and then start to make our way up? We came very close to that target, this white line here, which is an hourly liquidity pool. And so far this looks pretty good. I'm going to let it settle down. It is a Friday. I am not in a rush to trade right now. We took out that 500 level and that's where all the stops were, right? So we ran 65 stops through that 500 level, and now we're waiting to see if we're going to remain bullish. If we're going to remain bullish, this is the exact action we are looking for. A hold of this and starting to grind up through 520, and then we will be looking for, let me just remember because I put it in the room earlier, the H1 levels. We'll be looking for 615 and 695 if we're going to have a trend up day. All right, 615 and 695 if we're going to have a trend up day. We're just going to let this settle down after consumer sentiment. But so far, this looks very good. All right, this is the demand block that we created this morning for that opening drive up. So all the time we are soaking this and we are soaking at the London Asia lows, we have a chance to pivot up. That will change if we start to break down and turn this into supply, because it would mean all the buyers in here are then trapped. All right, so it's very similar to the action we've had the last few days. Very similar in terms of where we're opening and what we're looking at. You have to be aware that on the daily chart, we have done a monstrous move up. All right, so if we think about trend up daily, squeeze this down a bit. Hopefully you can all see this. Okay, this is the daily chart. And this week we came off the lower Bollinger Band, this orange and this old gap, and we started trending up, reclaiming 5-day, yesterday to 20-day, but we are into this old supply block and the downtrend on the daily, right? So for the daily to become pro trend, because remember, this can be looking to put a lower high in and a retest of here, and then maybe we go lower low, we don't know. For the daily to become pro trend, right, it's going to have to start taking out these pivots and doing something like this. Then we would have a giant W, push, pull, expansion for new highs. Okay, so we're at a very key area right now where we need the daily to start making decisions. Now, is it going to do it today? Very unlikely. After we've done a gigantic move, remember, if you look at your weekly chart, we've basically reclaimed all that massive dump down we had last week, we've basically reclaimed that whole move back to the upside. So it's unlikely that we're going to make a big decision today. But in the H1, we have this liquidity pool right here, which we're coming towards. So if you just want to think about a pattern, there is a cup, right? This was a cup, this was a cup, this is a cup. And if we come and take this out up here, these are where all the stops are. This is what we were talking about Monday and Tuesday. If we were going to go higher, these are the areas we are looking to come and run towards. So looking pretty good here. It's just going to require a huge amount of patience today. Let it pick a trend and then join. Do not get stuck diddling in the middle, which is what we have on this news candle right now. All right, we are just diddling in the middle. Pull this up, zoom in a bit. Let's see what we have in terms of points of control. All right, so we are basing above the momentum flow zones on the hourly candle. We have not even needed to come and retest yesterday's value area high. We are currently just trading over point of control on the session, which is 65. Okay, so I'm going to go down to the lower time frame now. Good morning, Stephen. Morning, Coop. Morning, everyone in the room. So into the lower time frame. Okay, and you can see we are potentially starting to play out here. So we had a buy signal here. We are holding the flow zones. This is your news candle. Of course, you can anchor view up that news candle. Ideally, we are looking for higher highs and higher lows for a trend up day. All right. Everyone who was in the room, peep the VIX. All right. The VIX let go of that key level. We were calling it 1680. We just traded all the way down to 1660. So now it's driving back up towards that 1675, 1680 shelf. If it rejects it, that's going to be the breakout retest on the VIX for lower prices, which means the market can trend up. If we start reclaiming those areas on the VIX, right, if we start reclaiming 1685 and upwards, you need to be very careful about an inverted head and shoulders on the VIX, because it means it will start to curl. It will start to condense price. And if the VIX starts to break out, the key trigger point today will pretty much be 17, 17, 17. All right, and that will take us all the way up to 1750, which is yesterday's IB low. So those are the areas we are watching on the VIX. Good morning, everyone joining. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button, drop me a like. Really helps the stream get going as we build the community. So far this W looks pretty good, right? It's playing out. Clearly have some sellers up here, all right? So on the tape, the seller keeps reloading at 500. This was the same seller we took out before. So he is still present on the tape at 500. We can move this down to a 1 minute if you want. Okay, so we are, as a reminder, trend bullish on this chart we are currently looking at. We are above the Momo clouds. We are above the deep pullback. We are above the lower time frame algo. We are way above the higher time frame algo. We are above the 20-day. We are bullish. So we are not looking for sells right now. Sells will become very obvious because the market will roll over and it will give you a very clear signal. Liquidity here on the news candle will be sat at 513. So a clear out through that, we will want to see a base above. If it clears out, trades back inside, again, we will need to be very aware of a failed breakout. All right. Michigan in sentiment came in at 3.1. The forecast was 3. All right. So consumer sentiment is good, 0.1% up than expected. You have about 20 minutes. 23 minutes until the initial balance is set, which is currently at, what's this, 120 points. Yeah, 120 points initial balance. So fairly standard size for the NQ currently. I was talking very fast there. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to give you all the information you needed. All right, so trend up is what we're looking for. Remember the targets we've talked about. We are looking for pullbacks to be holding for a trend up. This is a higher time frame breakout, trend up. All right, be aware of that daily downtrend. If we can get above here, then we have potential action to the upside. That's what we're looking for currently. Yeah, that's amazing, Coop. I'll keep trying to get it down. I'll do some research at the weekend. I know TBM and some other guys are about 6 seconds, so maybe that's all we can do. But we will do our best to make sure everyone in the room has the best possible service and a really, really low delay. All right, so if this is going to fail, as we talk about, it's going to steal liquidity and use liquidity. All right, so this liquidity pool here, and you'll be looking for runs of this. But until that point, we are staying bullish. Right, stay bullish until that point. It will start to become obvious, guys. If it's going to trend up, we are going to get an initial balance high, and we're going to base above it, and we're going to start to trend up. But this here was very, very nice. For John, I think you're on YouTube with us. Yeah, so John, this is very similar to what we were talking about, that dip and rip. This was obviously a deeper dip, but into this level of demand. All right, so these are, if you're going to put these on, you only need small size, because that instantly gave you a move of almost 100 points, right? 80 points. So even 1 micro there on that dip and rip, because you're holding bullish momentum for that breakout retest, would have paid you very, very nice. You don't need to start these with big size. If you're just learning a new pattern and looking to get involved in new patterns, start small, build your confidence up. So in the room, we were long this morning. We took a very simple breakout long right here on this buy signal for the push up. I reloaded, push up, reloaded, and then I sold and got out. Before we came into news, I didn't want to hold into news. The reason I didn't want to hold into news is because of this here. All right, you will very easily get stopped out on those moves. So probably a lower volume today. Remember, we're coming into rollover on the contract soon as well. And just remind yourself where you are on the daily, okay? On the daily is very, very key right now. We're right next to that downtrend. That downtrend for me, remember, downtrends and uptrends, they're always rough areas because everyone draws them slightly differently. For me, on the daily, it would take us up to about 550, 565, somewhere like that, which is probably the midpoint of the supply candle made on August 30th. So we're looking for the creation of a bullish structure here for us to play, remember, a bullish structure for us to play. The easier play today might be if we can get outside the initial balance high. One thing to remember, all right, we have done big move up, a little consolidation, big move up, a little consolidation. Today might require a pullback. It might require consolidation. Normally on Fridays, they like to trend, but it does not have to do that. If you look at this week's model, all right, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, we literally printed low of week on Monday and have had a straight pump week. Okay, so that Wednesday was a big manipulation down to catch everyone off guard, and we are now printing new highs. So potentially we just trade back inside or trade flat on the week and we see where we open. So I am cautious always on a Friday, or as we call them in the room, Freaky Fridays. Did anyone in this stream here manage to catch that beautiful long above the initial balance high that we talked about yesterday? When I left stream, I told you what the market might want to do, and it did it. All right, did a beautiful curl and push for the rest of the day. All right, so here's potential flag starting to play out here. Remember, this is target 1, this white line into 26 is where the hourly stops are. So anyone who is hourly short from way back last month, they have a lot of stops here. Remember, you need to be very careful. That is your liquidity line break right here. So you want to see that get run over. You want to see a large extension through it where they run the stops and rip it straight up. There is some liquidity on the tape at 37 right now. Amazing, DJ, amazing. That makes me so happy, man. It means people are here learning and seeing it. I'm just hands off right now. There's no clear breakout, no base above there. No trend, no candle closure above that flag. All right, so this is deep pullback into deep pullback algo wave, low time frame algo VWAP. We have to be careful if they're going to roll it for that head and shoulders. I'm just hands off right now. I am flat. We will be patient. We have initial balance in 17 minutes or so. So this can be a manipulation to go higher. If it wants, it can roll over, create a right shoulder and start to dump, right? There's lots of possibilities right now, because if you zoom out, we are currently just tagging the overnight high, right? We're just sat on that overnight high. So London Asia high. We need to see if the market needs to trap to go higher, or if it's just going to be a really choppy day, all right? Much like yesterday morning. Most mornings this week have been very similar, haven't they? They've been just trading inside initial balance, chopping everyone up, getting everyone trapped, and then when enough stops, enough liquidity is built, then it does the expansive move. We're just going to take our time here. Zero reason to rush. If it wants to fail, that is absolutely fine. We will join the failure. If it wants to trade inside initial balance and trap, we will play the edges. So you're only, what, 45 minutes into your trading day. Okay, you're only 45 minutes into your trading day. It's really easy to get fixated thinking you need to put a trade on all the time, but you don't. All right, so just as a reminder, the low that we're looking at here is really sort of this one that created this high. So all the time we're protecting this one, we have a chance to go higher. All right, this is your strong low. I'm ignoring this because that requires a huge amount in stop, and it will be very, very thin down there. So we just want this low right here, effectively VWAP, to be protected for a chance to move higher. Okay, if we think about where buyers stepped in, they stepped in right here. This is potentially looking good here for a hold. If it can trap enough shorts, then it will have shorts stuck at this triple top high. So at 512, you know everyone's stop is up there right now. If we get through that, they are going to feel some pain, and you're going to have 3 lots of stops on the shorts start to cover. No coughing today. Yeah, man, it's slowly going. Slowly going. Asa, good morning. Welcome everyone in chat. Do me a favor, hammer that like button and subscribe button. Share it with your friends. This today marks a whole week of streaming, my first week of streaming. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it and learned something. I've enjoyed it. It's helping me become even more patient, which is great. All right, so we're holding the deep pullback cloud and the Momo cloud right now. It's a very good, strong sign. We want to see these start to fan out and expand upwards, all right? We want the distance between the Momo cloud and deep pullback to start getting bigger. That's a sign that bulls will be in control. There's your first cough. Thanks so much, OX64. All right, so potential run on liquidity here. We just need to see these stops get run over. And this is the flag starting to play out to the upside. Looking very, very good here. Really don't want to see one more tug. Just want to see this absolutely go. Oh, there we go. So one thing I noticed recently, a little tip for you guys, I have different hotkeys for Top Step and Ninja, and I keep pressing the wrong keys. So I flattened a few times today on Ninja Trader when I wanted to take a partial move break even. So I need to fix that. Thanks, Coop. Appreciate it. All right, so there's your run on liquidity now. Looking very, very good. We want to see a drive up now, right? We want to see a drive up. We do not want to see failure and a stuff after stealing the liquidity. All right, that will be problematic if we just start to flush back inside, because it will mean that buyers are exhausted and they might get trapped. Just having a look. So you've got a seller, keeps reloading into 25. So I just want to see these candles soak and drive up with some expansion. All right, remember this is the level we're looking at. That white level is the hourly liquidity. This is where a load of stops are on the hourly. So they're trying to protect that right now. There's a big flush. This is what we have to be very, very careful about, these moves here. All right, if they keep refreshing on the sell, it's a problem. VIX is at lows. All right, VIX is at lows. Dollar is trying to find a curl. Can this soak the flow zones, or are we now going to take out these lows and start to roll over and create that head and shoulder? All right, we are inside current initial balance. It hasn't been set yet, but we are inside. Remember, we are inside. This is not a big expansive move up yet. All right, once we get that, we can think about a channel. All right, I'd love to think about a trend up channel if it can start to prove itself. Something like this would be really nice if it can start to prove itself. Come on, get going, NQ. ES looking much, much stronger. All dips being soaked on ES. As relative strength today, we need tech to get going, because only 1, 2, 3 out of the mag 7 are currently green on the day. We need them all to go red to green, because they all opened red, and then we have a chance. So ES, that 630 will be key on ES. 630 will be key on ES. So a refresh seller there. Feels like there's a lack of liquidity right now to take it higher. No worries, Jerry. So VIX did fail that retest we talked about. It dove right back up to 1685 and failed. Now trading and holding and basing at that 1660s. Okay, so a new failure of 1657 on the VIX will take us higher, but it lacks liquidity, as does the NQ. All right, relative weakness in the NQ, which means if they're going to go higher, they probably need to trap shorts. Like we talk about all the time, to go higher, they will need to trap shorts. You will need to get shorts stuck in the market to provide the liquidity for the market to move higher, especially when we're already up so high. All right, we're up very, very high on the week. Done a big trend day, up numerous days this week. Okay, so I caught that, looking to see if we extend here. Don't like that we keep getting stuck right here. That's better. Get going. Really nice. Come on, get going. Looking for a break of 10. Okay, trimming some there. Don't like it. Just going to be hands off again for a minute. ES looks like it's going to go now. Okay, so this is what I'm currently looking at. All right, this move, which is going to play out now, of course. So just be aware your higher day here is your initial balance, and this is the H1 liquidity pool. Looks good to drive up and take that. ES very strong, new high day ES, beautiful, through 30, okay, and the VIX is failing. This looks really good for a breakout now. We just need tech to start going green. So now you've got 4 of them are green. So Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla are lagging. Nvidia is very close to going red to green. Tesla and Meta are about a point down. Yeah, very, very close. Everything close to going green. Might need to build more liquidity here. I don't want to get stuck buying the highs, guys, which is why I bought these dips down here and sold pops. Very, very well coming into that initial balance and that H1 level. If we break out above here, okay, and we start to hold above this H1 level, then I think we can start going for those higher targets that we mentioned earlier, which I think was 625 and 695. Should probably just print them on the screen. 615 and 695, and 550 on the daily is the downtrend, right? 550 on the daily is the downtrend. So always make sure you are just checking your higher time frames. Right, this white line here is the liquidity from the stops in here, okay? And through that, we come up to this red zone. So this breakout is looking good now. So notice we literally tapped that H1 liquidity and traded right back inside. So some stops got fired off there. 202, all right, on that break, and then it's traded back down inside. So we want to see H1 get going here. And then it can really start attacking these levels. 620, 650. Remember, the daily is right by that downtrend right now. Okay, it's right by that downtrend into 550. So you want to be very, very careful. Because if you think about the move that we did this morning, right, this breakout of the downtrend on the lower time frame, push, pull, expansion. We also did it here. If I zoom out. Okay, this was the move we took in the rune this morning. This move here, breakout, pull, go. That's the type of thing you're going to need on the daily, all right? Same kind of thing. You're going to need that daily trend to start to break out. So far, we swept that liquidity, which is why it was target price 1. So you should have been taking partials into that if you got long on that break. You need to be very, very aware of this channel now. Remember, we talked about if all it's going to do is chop all day, all right, think about the liquidity right here. Think about this Newswick low. That is a low-hanging fruit if it wants to come back down. So let's mark that out for you. Okay, there will be a lot of stops in here. Okay, so don't fight it. Clearly starting to break down here. Underneath the Momo, for now holding the deep pullback. Lower time frame, we are starting to shift on an M1, not on an M5. On an M5, we still look very, very good. ES really having a big pullback here on the M10. That's a 10-point pullback off that clear out into 34. Right, that would have me very concerned right now about trying to pick up any of this long. Right, we're breaking down from this. We cleared that H1 liquidity pool. This right here, okay, was a low-hanging fruit play. Have we got above that and based? No, we're not here, are we? We're breaking down. So don't be trying to grab longs right now. It's done the first move we needed. Need to be patient. Talked about the beginning of the stream. It will use this liquidity one way or another. Into view up here now. Morning, Ramus. Okay, I'm just going to fill up my water bottle. Please be patient. Don't be forcing stuff. It will become very, very obvious if it's going to roll over into a short. Remember, you've got the initial balance coming in 90 seconds. Okay, initial balance coming in 90 seconds. So we are basing on London Asia high, but there is some heaviness to this tape right now. So we'll clear this up. Clearly a breakdown here, all right? Very clear break of that channel. And we're underneath the anchored view up of that news candle. So it was holding bid support. Once that failed, it was the same point as the flow zones. We had downside pressure. So unless you were bidding here, if you were following it up and you didn't take a partial into this, you are now stuck. So tapping lower time frame algo and VWAP. If this starts to fail, this is low hanging fruit. Okay, this right here is your low hanging fruit. There you go. It is drawing that liquidity down right now. So in the space of under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, we are going to go from initial balance high to initial balance low. All right, so clearly it trapped enough up here at the initial balance high. See, they are now printing. It trapped enough buyers up here who didn't take partial into that liquidity run. It's why you must always take partials into areas of liquidity. So zoom out, look at your M5, look at the M15, look at the hourly. The hourly point of control is above us now. Okay, at 463-ish, 465. Retest of yesterday's point of control would take you all the way down to 282. Value area high of yesterday is same as the initial balance, basically at 365. Okay, so now look at the reaction after taking that Newswick low. All right, so that was your low hanging fruit play. We just talked about it. Yeah, ES still has room. It has room, and it has equal lows underneath the IB at 604. ES is holding for now. Reclaimed view up already. All right, so that breakdown here happened very, very quick for the low hanging fruit play. We are in a liquidity build stage right now. Okay, we are in liquidity build. We are trading inside the previous day range. We are trading inside London and Asia range. We are trading in between higher time frame and lower time frame algorithms. Okay, remember what we talked about. We were coming into areas of resistance on the daily. The daily is not bullish. The other time frames are all bullish. And that is why you're going to get plays like this happening. Because higher time frame traders, daily traders, came in and slapped that. And traders who were trading off H1, M15, M5 like us sold some into that. And traders who didn't understand got stuck. This doesn't mean it can't still go higher. We are just trading inside initial balance, all right? We're trading inside initial balance, but definitely momentum now has flipped to the downside. So there would likely be a bounce and at least a retest of this low yet, all right? Normally you would get something like this. It then might reclaim. It might then want to do trend down and prove itself. We don't know, we have to see. But normally off a move like this, you get one bounce up at least and a retest towards the low, okay? Classic short continuation. You must cover some and the retest towards the low, all right? So we're starting to fail here. So your cover point would be into 33, into 14, into 98, all right? These are all partials, and then you've got this 20-day looming down here. Then underneath that, we can look at yesterday's range. So into 33s and point of control into 90. This can be very, very similar to the last few days where we have needed to trap inside the initial balance to start the day. If the target was just this, okay, then there's no reason for bulls to come in the market today. We could have a sell day, not a huge sell day, just a take profit day. All right, again, peep the daily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've printed all 5 days up into the supply block, into the downtrend. It's an obvious area. If you along Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Thursday, it's an obvious area to take some profit. ES has massive relative strength right now. Really, really impressive. So continuation lower would need the creation of a bear flag or an inverted head and shoulder for a retest of these levels. If we're going to do a really dirty move and reclaim it all, then we can think about this liquidity here. Okay, but you don't need to be long down here. You can think about these moves up here. But the low hanging fruit trade, both sides has gone. All right, those are the easy plays. Seek the liquidity, exit at least partial at the liquidity. VIX is trying to do that move we talked about, all right, that inverted head and shoulders. It is attempting to do it, but it has to reclaim the lower shelf, which is at right now. It would need to reclaim it with conviction. So if you look at the VIX on an M10, you will see what I'm talking about. If you look at the Qs, all we're doing is trading inside the close of yesterday's range, the after hours, and the pre-market. All right, if it's going to do a dirty reclaim, it's going to have to trade all the way back up here, and we'll use that liquidity. Until that point, this is your range on the day. All right, so edges might pay today if we're just going to be in range rotation, which could easily be expected after a big move up. All right, if we're going to have range rotation, you are not going to be in a trend day. Range rotation, like we talked about yesterday, can be super tricky to trade. All right, so market conditions now are not lining up. All right, we're moving from trend bear to trend liquidity build to trend bull. All right, we are not in a pro trend. Notice how everything's flat. This is very similar to yesterday, guys. Very similar. I would expect a retest towards here, even if we're going to move higher, unless enough shorts got trapped chasing underneath sort of this level here. All right, into these levels. Normally, even if we're going to move higher, you would expect, all right, a leg up and a retest of this. Okay, and if we break down, we can expect lower, and if we hold, then we can expect a W, something like that. All right, so I'm always thinking ahead of the potential patterns to play out. I'm not shorting into this drive up. Not shorting into this drive up because it can reclaim all the way. I would rather short if it shows me that pattern, right? If it shows me it's going to break down, can always get in for a short looking for a move down here. At the moment, that's only offering 30, 40 points to TP1. This is previous day high, all right? So we start to reclaim this, then it's going to be problematic for all the shorts who are chasing this upside. So I'm just hands off here. ES, relative strength, still looking very, very strong, ES. And there is nothing on the book today to give me a target upside, all right? The biggest thing I can see right now, 550 has 31 contracts and 400 has 42 contracts. There's nothing really notable size. There are some right up at 600, 59 contracts up there. Nothing notable. There's your cough. Right, so we are right at point of control right now. If you zoom out and look at this hourly candle, all right, it is just indecision, stealing liquidity. Nothing in this hourly candle to give you massive conviction in what we want to do in closing out the hour in the next 20 minutes. All right, so for me, a reaction into 90 and the psychological level of 500 is going to be key. Do we see sellers start to step up? Or is this a trap? We're going to squeeze back up, reclaim, and then we can potentially think about joining, especially if we get above here and we start to base for a breakout. If we're in a rotational play, then probably we are going to find sellers somewhere up here. And then we can think about a breakdown and a retest of this area and lower if it proves. This is a perfect example of why you don't just start to chase short on the drive up. We haven't made here, okay, we haven't made a breakdown and we haven't broken a pivot. Okay, these are up candles, up, close, inside, 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 breakout, up, close, inside, breakout, 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 might give inside, breakout. We would need to see down, close, underneath for any thought about the short. Market is going to do whatever it wants. We can come up with thesis, but we must trade what is in front of us. Okay, this looks very dirty. Stop run of here, reclaim up. This is supply. Above that, we have room. Okay, so this is where the stops were. This is that news candle that we talked about. Took the liquidity, moved back upside. All right, so now I'm going to say shorts are in mega pain because they are in a situation where they haven't been patient and they've gone add. And unless it gives them an out, they're going to force to cover. Okay, so now I am definitely thinking about this liquidity pool. Can we build this liquidity pool here? And I'm going to respect this because we are inside it. So if it's going to just be, yes, Coop, that would absolutely be considered a bear trap. But normally the nicer bear traps would be underneath like an internal one, just like here and a turn, but it took both. So a nice bear trap would be something like this, okay, where we make like an internal low, because this is your strong low, okay, and then it traps here because they don't understand that that's the strong low, right? That's not a strong low because this is the high and this is the low that made it. But yes, it would effectively be considered a bear trap or a steal of liquidity. Would have actually preferred it to come way down under here. Again, I am not a huge fan of trading inside initial balances. All right, do not love trading inside initial balances. If you look at the M5 chart, where did we just tag into? Remember, we lined this up this morning. This is where buyers stepped in for this drive. So we know buyers are down here. This is definitely a strong pool of liquidity down here. because they've bought once, twice, 3, 4 times on 5-minute bars. They've soaked this area. This area is also right underneath Asia London. Okay, so if for some reason we snap that, you could expect a very large move to the downside. So this might be your first pullback, but this is all very close. We are trying to go bull, right? So we'd need something like this now. This would be target. Have to respect the IB high. If you are in this, you have to respect that IB high. Definitely shorts a trap right now. Should not be thinking short. Shorts are in big pain right now off that move. So just a very easy liquidity run on this. Steal the liquidity, move back up. This is what I would be looking for now. If we're not going to do that, then I'm going to respect this, and maybe we do a failure pattern back down. Really good. Check out ES. It's gone through the IB high. It is starting to extend violently now. 550 definitely looks doable on the Qs. They're respecting that IB high for now. So maybe it needs to build that inverse head and shoulder that we talked about. Check out VIX, guys. Just got destroyed. All right, under 1640 now. So ES through IB high, now coming back to test the IB high. We would like the NQ to either do the same or to build some liquidity, some bullish pattern, a right shoulder or a flag or a W, something that we can potentially get involved in, all right? Something that we can get involved in would be ideal. Just watching ES to see if it's going to hold that IBH. Have to respect initial balance high here. You have to respect the initial balance high. These M5 candles were very big up. It might need to build that liquidity if it's going to have a chance to get outside that initial balance high. You have 14 minutes until a new hourly candle. So now look at this hourly candle. Looks much stronger, doesn't it? So if this hourly candle can close bullish, if we get lucky, we get a retest of some key level and we can get continuation. So the bigger this candle, the better for us, because it's going to leave room for a potential pullback on the next hourly candle. We are effectively trading at high of day right now. I did not enter, Jerry, in this play. We called it, but we're inside initial balance. I would like to see some liquidity be built here. These can be very hard to trade, effectively V-shaped bottoms. Right, there was a demand area here that we talked about on the M5, but this is effectively a V-shaped bottom, very hard to just join in. There were bull flags here, okay, but normally you would expect this to roll over, to retest, but it hasn't done it. Too many shorts got caught and it started to reclaim. All it's got given is 1, 2, 3. There's a 3-minute flag there, 1 flag here, but all underneath key levels. So not something I was interested in participating into the upside. I'd much rather a pullback here and a soak, or a breakout above IB high and a soak. But I am going to respect the initial balance. If it wants to be a range rotation day, it is going to be very, very dirty and just roll back to VWAP and then back to IB low and rinse and repeat. Generally, I expect a drive up once we've built liquidity if it can prove itself now. Everyone new that's just joined the room, thank you for coming, or everyone new that's in YouTube, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now trading 5 days a week live from 10 o'clock market time, giving the market a little room to breathe at the open. So now we need to think about this liquidity. All right, we've been talking about it. We need to think about this. Can we do something like this? Or if it's just range rotation, okay, it might do this. These are the two possibilities right now. I would way prefer bullish structure. This would be a much nicer trade for a trend continuation day. The only thing I dislike is by how little it took this liquidity right here. So we can do a deep pullback now if it wants. There is room for flag creation. Okay, there is room. Looking for flag creation. So this is looking good here. Deeper would have been better, but we will see what we get. ES is still not above its IB high either, so it poked above it and has not been able to base above the IB high. Hi Marek, thanks for joining. So notice how key these are. Very key. Everyone sold back into this. All the bulls that got here sold back into it. We have not really run this liquidity out, okay? We've run it by a few points, but it's not significant, okay? It's not significant. And there is a big imbalance on the M5. This move up here, because it lacked pullbacks, because we didn't do this that much, we really went straight up. It can come deeper. Doesn't have to, but it can come deeper. Like that, there we go. This is what we were talking about. It lacked structure on the way up. So now is the question, is it going to hold and create liquidity, or are we just in a range rotation day where it's just going to trap everyone over and over and over again? Remember, the easier trades come outside of initial balance. The trend trades come outside of the initial balance. We are trying to hold previous day high here. We're trying to hold London, Asia high here. Okay, this red dotted line, that's previous day high. It's going to need to try and hold that. Failure of that, we are going to come all the way back down. It'll be a very dirty move, but it is not unusual for initial balance range rotational days. Very common. ES now looking much weaker. So decent stuff against that IB high. Okay, so here is the attempt to hold previous day high. There is an M15 block here. It will need to hold to have a chance to move higher. Nothing for me to do here. Have to be very, very aware. Maybe this can be what we were talking about, the inverted head and shoulders. All right, maybe this can be the start of it. Trap them in for the move. We will have to see. We will have to see. That last 1 minute candle down was pretty strong on a flush. If it reclaims it, they're going to get stuck. If they stuff this imbalance in this candle into 13 and 18, then maybe we seek lower prices. VIX trading back up to its IB low. All right, back up to the IB low on the VIX. Not much to do here. See how all the algorithms are pretty much flat. We are not in a nice trend up. We need to reclaim this area. We need to do everything we talked about in terms of building the liquidity. We must build liquidity to go higher. It must prove itself. I know this can be boring, but hopefully you are seeing what I'm talking about. This liquidity must be used here to base, all right? We must base out to go higher. If we're going to fail, okay, we're going to fail this imbalance right here, then we can expect lower prices and a rotation to VWAP, lower time frame algorithm, IB low, double bottom right there. It's what I'm aware of if we're going to fail. But for now, I am expecting bullish moves. I still think we can do bullish moves, especially if we reprice this, all right? If we reprice this, we are in bullish trend. We just need to see the market prove to us that it wants to do it. It's got to prove to us that it can create something like this. All right, we talked about this all ahead of time, So if you're a dip buyer, you could have taken that into deep pullback, all right? All depends what type of trader you are. Some of you will be dip buyers. Some of you will be playing flag breakouts. Trade whatever you are comfortable with. Need to see this really run through these highs now. There is now liquidity on the book. The biggest order on the book now is at 450, and that is for 115 contracts. Then you still have 550 on the book at 51 contracts. Starting to look good now. This is really starting to look good, but I want to see it break out, force the squeeze, and start to get above that IB high. If it cannot do that, I'm definitely not interested. ES did soak off that M10. We did reprice the whole of the M5 that I talked about. That whole imbalance on the M5 we have repriced. So M5 structure is still up. M1 structure is not up. So you've got to fight here. Need to build this liquidity, and we need to break out for upside continuation. Once enough people are trapped, we have potential to move upside, but it needs enough people trapped. If it can't do that, you have to respect the initial balance. I know it's a stuck record, guys, but this is how you need to trade all the time. Okay, VIX coming back up to try and test that initial balance, right? So this is the problem here. We have not built enough liquidity. It did not break out. It did not get above the IB high. There's nothing to do. If we get a W here and a retrap, Right, if this is a two-leg pullback, this will have built significant liquidity. All right, it will need to get above these levels. I cannot stress that enough. Range rotation days are very tricky to play, guys. We've talked about it yesterday. They are effectively counter trend. They go against trend plays. You are playing the edges. They are really, really, really hard to get your head into. Watching to see if this W plays out, if a flag plays out, or if we're just going to reprice this M1 again and go lower. Remember, target on the range rotation play off IB high would effectively be midpoint and VWAP. This is the kind of thing we need to see go for bulls, but it's going to be easier above the IB high. It's going to be much easier above here. It's when we are going to get trend confirmation. Push up, pull back, a hold, a bullish pattern, and a squeeze. That's when it's going to be easy and obvious. All right, if we think about the fib like we drew out earlier, in case some of you weren't here, what have we held? Right into the flag zone, right? If we're going to do deeper, it's going to fail that. That would be much more bearish if that starts to fail, right? For now, it's definitely making lower lows and lower highs on a lower time frame, right? On an M1. On an M5, that's not the case. Very, very choppy here while it makes its decision. This is all about liquidity. This is all about who's stuck, where are they stuck, what is the target. Again, I'm much more interested in entering here if it can prove itself to me. This is the type of thing I'm more interested in taking right now. That's where I feel confident that they're all trapped. I know it's a later entry, okay, I understand it's a later entry, but for me, it's a safer entry. I'm not going to enter on a break of these levels, okay? On a break of these levels, I'm not entering. You play your game though. This is how I'm trading, how I like to create rules for myself. Because my issue is I do not want to get stuck trying to get long and have that initial balance absolutely slam it back down for a range rotation. Effectively, what I'm talking about doing is longing near high of day, all right, which is dangerous. So it has to prove itself for me. The reason I'm not getting short, oh, by the way, guys, we're into a new H1 candle here. Almost missed that. All right, so this becomes key on the hourly. Let me just zoom in. So value area high currently is at 94. Old hourly wick is effectively 500. That hourly close is at 13. So I'd want 500 to hold. I'd want, ideally, if we can stay above 13, we have the chance to retest that hourly high for continuation. If it fails to hold 500, then it's really got a chance to reprice lower. Potentially this W is looking good if it can really start to go here. ES though does not look so attractive right now on the M10. But the Mag 7 are all green other than Tesla. So everything has gone red to green other than Tesla. What I want though is us to get above and create a nice trend. All right, I want to join trends. Beautiful. Let's go, please. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Can we squeeze above and base? It's the big, big question. Okay, so remember we talked about the liquidity being built. We can break above here and start to base, we have the chance to go higher. Right, hopefully this has made a lot of sense to you guys. This is the W, okay, this is the base at the top of the W. It would have been better above it, but we don't always get what we want. Now we want to see the initial balance break. We must see that initial balance break to the upside, okay? If we get the initial balance break to the upside, if we can get a base above that initial balance, I will think about getting in long for continuation. Hopefully this is all making sense to you guys. And hopefully this is more information that you're getting on other channels of, oh, I'm just longing a flag break, or I'm just fading this or doing that. Hopefully there's enough thesis here to make you think about what type of market we're in, because when you understand what type of market you are in, it's going to become easier. When you are in a trending market, all right, we will be above the IBH. This is beautiful. It's really looking good now on these dips now for this inverted head and shoulders. If we get above here, this is effectively the neckline. Okay, if you're a pattern player, this is effectively the neckline. You want to see it break out, retest, hold, and then we can think about continuation. Okay, be very, very cautious here if it doesn't do that, which is why I'm saying I want to see it do that. It must do that for me to have interest. We are for now respecting IBH. Looking at ES now, ES actually has relative weakness compared to the NQ right now. So that shows the shift. Now everything in tech has gone red to green, okay? So it's something we talked about in the room at the start of the day. I'd want to see tech go red to green for the chance of continuations higher. Bonds are all down, VIX is down, Dixie's down. We are in potential trend continuation higher. I'm going to delete this white line. This white line was the old hourly level that I was looking at for it to steal, which we've now done. So I'm now going to put in the other levels. So really, we're looking at this. Right, this ideally is the target into here. Okay, still no confirmation, still no confirmation. Still respecting the IBH. You see what I said? My hands are off, guys. No worries, Ramus. Look, you don't, this is a thing to remember, right? You don't have to trade like me. Okay, some of you might be guys who play these and you're risking that, or the deep pullback. That's why this is here. Some people play these. Sorry, I'm looking after my friend's husky, and it's every time a siren goes past, it starts howling. Right, so some of you can play these. If that's part of your pattern play, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. If that's how you play, if that's your setup. I'm just telling you my setup, what I'm looking for. This is a really nice hold. Right, if we weren't right by the IBH, I would have bought this dip on the retest. Okay, so here's your W, breakout, retest. I think we talked about this earlier. This is exactly the same play okay, as this from a fractal point of view. Think about that trend. Trend lines don't work, that's what they say. Whatever, they work. All right, if you know how to use them. If I had a bias right now, it is upside. It will become downside if we fail, but for now, I'm respecting my thought process. My bias is upside. I'm not in anything. I'm looking for a breakout and a retest. Cannot say that enough. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's cool unless there's like a siren that goes past at 1 AM and I'm trying to sleep. Indy, come here. Okay, so we're still respecting the initial balance high. We're still respecting the initial balance high. So again, if we're going to be in a range rotation day, you will have initial balance traders trying to force this down to the green line, which is VWAP, and to these double bottoms, which could be low hanging fruit, and then the initial balance low. All right, that is how initial balance traders will be trading right now. They will be saying to themselves, there's not a clear breakout of the IB high. We are in a range day. This is the range right here, and we are going to fade the top of the range and buy the bottom of the range. That's what initial balance traders will be doing right now. Top of that, for those joining late, on the daily chart, okay, on the daily chart, we are in a supply block near the downtrend on the daily chart. So I'd want to see effectively another continuation pattern here. Want to see this start to play out. That's what we're looking for. Do not want to see rolls here. If we start to roll or get stuck here, then I start to think about more the initial balance. I can clean this up, guys, and take the writing off, the labels off, if you prefer it. Right, I don't need it on. I just have it on for stream. But whatever you guys prefer, if you want that label off to clean up the chart, I can do that. You just let me know in chat. And for any of you joining, this is the Flow Zone Momo indicator. It comes for free when you join my community. All right, so this potentially here, we are looking for this flag break. We're looking for a break above and a hold. Need to be very aware of a break above and a fail. Yeah, and then that would be the neckline. That's the range. All right, cool. Glad it's not too messy. So this hourly candle right now, if you look at the last 3 hours, the current hour pretty much went wick to wick with the hourly candle at 9 AM. Now it's going to try and expand and take out the hourly high. There we go. So now it's trying to do it. Again, we're waiting. If you look at ES has relative weakness. That makes me very, very uncomfortable. I'd want to see ES get going. VIX looks good, Dixie looks good, ES is the one lagging, which means tech by itself is strong as a sector. So probably the banks and Things like this, the other sectors which make up more of the SPY, SPX than they do the Qs are probably lagging right now today. Tech is all green. All of tech has gone red to green. So remember what we're looking for. Okay, this is nice. This is your breakout. Can we hold this and start to show momentum upside? Explain the VIX. All right, the VIX is a volatility index. Okay, so when the VIX is trending down in volatility, you are likely to have nice, slow grind moves higher. All right, nice buying pressure higher. When the VIX is trending up, you will see big flushes in the market. All right, so you're looking for everything to line up. All right, that's how I like to trade. I want to see the VIX doing the opposite to the market. If there's divergence and you see lots of things doing the same, all right, so let's say the dollar's trending up, the VIX is trending up, and the Qs are basing, all right, that would make me think twice about taking a trade at all. You do get times where that happens because you can actually trade the VIX, all right, so then you get weird order flow on the VIX. So the start of this week where we started to make the upward move, the VIX was starting to flush hard. They were selling the VIX, all right? So see, no base here, still no base. All right, so potential higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, but no base. All right, so we're kind of thinking about this right now. Pretty much against that IB high. Okay, which would be a traditional squeeze pattern, wouldn't it? Something like this. Maybe it does a fake breakdown and that, but if it washes these guys, it's going to run all the stops down here. Very similar pattern to here. Okay, trend line up. Okay, so buyer stops, buyer stops, buyer stops, buyer stops. Didn't sell, we sold, they didn't sell. Take them out of the market, do the same thing again. Buyer stops, buyer stops, buyer stops. If it wants to take them out, it can do the same thing again. Because not only does it take it out, it traps shorts in these areas. And we need liquidity to go higher because we've done a monster move this week already. If you just look at the weekly candle, right, last week was a huge sell week, and this week we've pretty much come right back up, okay? So into 600 will be effectively a reclaim of the whole thing like nothing happened. Please leave them on. Yeah, I am leaving them on, buddy. I just took them off for the weekly chart. Okay, just to clean it up and show the weekly chart. They're all on. Everything's on. Amazing to see this stream grow just 5 days in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully the channel will start to grow as well. Loads of free education on my YouTube channel. And of course you can do the course. If you'd rather do an intense course, 20 hours on demand, access to the Discord room, and then you get this indicator and another indicator for free. Jerry just joined, I think. I think it was you that emailed me last night. Welcome to the room. This is very, very similar to yesterday, guys. A little bit of a boring session. All right, we're not always going to get wicked trend days out the gate. Tighter range today as well. But it is to be expected, all right? Just always remember that, like when you look at your daily chart, if you've had those huge move ups, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so Wednesday was a really big move. Monday was a really big move. Yesterday afternoon was a decent sized move, and you're coming into supply and a daily downtrend. All right, then you have to think, can you expect a giant move up out the gate? Probably not. The only way it's going to do it is by trapping people. And that's what it's attempting to do right now, is attempting to trap people. Even thinking about a long above IBH, which I will take, makes me uncomfortable. Makes me uncomfortable looking at the daily. So it has to really prove to me. I'm quite happy not taking another trade today if it doesn't prove anything. It's probably where my trading has improved the most, is knowing when not to trade, all right? Knowing when not to trade. When your setup isn't there, there's no reason to take it. That's just my setup. You guys can take whatever you want, all right? Whatever you want. If you took this breakout here for some reason, if that was a flag you wanted to take, that's fine, absolutely fine. Trade your system. Really important you trade your system. $450 is still on the book right now, which is an odd level to me. I'm trying to have a little scan. It's underneath some key levels at 450. So remember, if it wants to run the stops on the liquidity, it can do it before going back up. It can quite happily do that. Hourly is definitely bullish. M5 looks like a good flag after rebalancing. All right, indications here are bullish, but ES is lagging. ES is lagging. So this is being driven by tech right now. Do you trade the PM session as well? Really enjoy this stream, by the way. Thank you, San Pedro. PM as in the pre-market session, or do you mean PM as in the afternoon? And do you mean live, or do you mean do I just trade it? Let me know and I will give you the answers. Afternoon, yeah. So it really depends on the setup and the day. All right, so I don't love trading up into lunch. I did say yesterday we had that inside trap all day yesterday into lunch, and I expected the market to start moving at lunch. So I did take some of it, a very small piece over lunch. Here we go. This is starting to look good now. So yes, sometimes I will. I don't do it live. I do make calls out in the room throughout the day. So if there's something I'm looking at, I will post it in the Discord and be like, this is what I'm looking for. So here's the breakouts, and notice this squeeze is starting to happening, all right? Ascending triangle starting to squeeze. So can we hold now? Can we hold the gains now? ES is still not at the IBH. ES is not at the IBH. VIX is at low of day. Yeah, so I don't do it live, Pedro, in the afternoons currently. But if there is a good setup, I do call it out in Discord. Same pretty much throughout any time of day. If I see a setup setting up, or if I'm looking at a key level, I call it out. No worries, Sam. All right, so can we get a bullish setup here? All right, can we get a flag or a W or something like that? I do not want to see these levels just start to fade. If this is a pop and roll, right, this will be very horrible. It would do this. Has to really prove to me to get me interested. ES is starting to look good. On an M10, it's looking good. It's holding its M10 flow zones. It might want to get through that IBH. So I'm still not in for this reason, all right? Has not proven anything to me. Hands off. This is why I'm cautious right now. There's clearly a lot of selling going on into that initial balance area. Yeah, for sure. I totally agree, Coop. Like, I'm not going to do the afternoon sessions. Maybe occasionally I might do a power hour or something, or like FOMC day, for example. Probably won't stream the morning and stuff like that. But yeah, it's tiring. It is tiring, guys. Like calling everything out as I see it. Okay, so this was a run on these stops. All right, this low did create this high though, so we have to be careful on an M1, but it hasn't shifted on anything else. We stole this liquidity into the deep pullback. So either a trap now, force the shorts to cover, or a reprice and lower. All right, always and if or. But sentiment is still bullish. But for sure, every time you are getting a break of structure into the higher day, you need to be selling partials if you're playing any of this to the long side. Remember what we said, I think it was 550 on the daily, 550, 560 was the downtrend. Okay, so I'll pull this up. Right, this is the downtrend from all-time high. We are coming right into it, which is why you probably have people selling into it. Supply block and this. All right. Trend-wise, very, very good. Reclaiming the 20-day, I would say by mid next week, the 5-day will get a 20-day cross. Once we do that, that can be a bullish signal. So a nice reclaim here. Do they stuff this imbalance into 35 or do we let it through? And there goes the dog again. Thanks, Jerry. Yeah, it's super detailed. Super detailed. Yeah, that's the dog. Indy. He got super panicky for the earthquake yesterday. Probably a bit like me. I watched that back a few times. You can see my eyes really, really widen. For any of you who weren't here yesterday, we had a 5.1 earthquake live on stream, half an hour into the stream, and everything started shaking. And I was trying to decide if I should run out the building or not. So I'm just super, super patient here. Just lots of chopping here. All right, part of me is like, yes, I wish I'd sort of played this or played this, but it's just such high risk here, guys, on a grind up day inside initial balance. Yeah, you can watch it back, Pedro. I actually posted like a clip of it on YouTube. I think I did a little short as well. Okay, so potential here, potential here, potential here. Nothing there yet, potential. There is an imbalance, all right, right here that they keep trying to stuff against. Right? There is a refresh seller on the tape, keeps coming up 37, reloading up to 50. I think they're going to let this through in a second because they are walking it up right now up to 50. We ran a load of stops last time into 37-ish. All right, so that move through 37-ish was just stops getting run on a market. So we have to see if they're going to let anything else through. The problem is it's Friday and there is nothing really on the tape to make me look at a target above. There's some at 600, which would be amazing, but there's not much size and volume is pretty low right now. That can all change if we go into a trend day. It can all change. But for me, I kind of wouldn't be surprising if after a week like this, you get a lack of movement into a Friday. Think about it. If you're a big institution and you are bidding this market up with millions and millions of contracts over the week, do you really want to be adding to your position when you're very, very comfortable? Or are you taking profits into supply, into downtrend? Probably more likely taking profits, going slightly risk off, and then on a pullback next week or a breakout pullback next week, you can add to those contracts, right? So always think about what swing traders are doing, because that's really what institutions are doing. All right, so still no breakout. You see, we did not break out of that. We are still inside the initial balance. There is really very little to do right now, all right? The reason I'm not taking the initial balance rotational play, right, for back down is, for me, we're still in structure upside. All right, we haven't rolled yet. If we're going to roll, there's my line. If we're going to roll, we're going to start to do that. All right, so I'd want to see clearer moves down rather than just like soaking off these levels. So if we just pull back, soak, pull back, soak, pull back, soak, as a shorter, you're going to get frustrated, because the high time frame narrative is upside. So if they do keep soaking this, it's going to be really frustrating on a short. So I'll give it another half an hour or so, guys. Hopefully we get a trade in here. I had that one trade this morning with the room for that breakout, and I haven't really got anything since. So you can see how we're building liquidity here. The problem is the liquidity is being built this way, which is traditionally a reason to move lower. When you're bullish, the ideal situation is to build the liquidity like this for this move up, but we didn't break out and retest. Right, so when we build liquidity like this, we move lower. When we build liquidity this way, we move higher, right? So now we're in sort of chop zone, where really this whole thing is a range. And this is a load of stops here. This started at what, 10:45, so almost an hour ago. We really want to see this for continuation. Well, so Fast Track just announced they've paid out almost $10 million already, or over $10 million. So if you don't know, Fast Track is a prop firm which does not require you to do a challenge. Okay, it's straight to funding. I posted a video on it last Saturday or Sunday. There's a link underneath. You can use code, I think it's BG50. There's a link underneath that will get you 30% off right now, if you want to use that. So you go straight to funding. You have to pay a little bit more than you would with someone like Apex or Top Step, but you are instantly funded, and you can have up to 20 accounts. I know lots of guys right now getting paid out by them. They pay out every 5 days. But if you want to know more about them, check the video that I posted over the weekend. Still soaking dips here. Nothing with conviction here. All right, I'm not a range trader. I don't like trading ranges, so I'm hands off. I'm trying to really focus on trend trades. It's where I make most of my money. All the time we're basing up here, though, it does look good. VIX now coming for a new low of day. ES trying to get up to its IB high, starting to build here for potential moves. What doesn't look nice is like a 10-minute chart right now with all those wicks. It doesn't look nice, but those can be the stops that we can run. But I just feel like it can do a nasty little yank before going upwards right now. So I don't want to get trapped up here underneath IB high without it breaking out, retesting and holding. So I have to be patient because we are building a trend here with a lot of stops in, just like we did here. Same thing is being built here. Any questions while the market's slowing down a little bit? Any questions? Something like this would be good. All right, look at the M5 chart, this chart here. This is just M5 barcoding. A lot of traders right now are losing their heads, getting very, very frustrated. All right, trying long, trying short, trying long, trying short, not understanding that we're inside the initial balance. Its job is to trap and build liquidity inside the initial balance. All right, that's its job. So the market is achieving its job. So ask yourself, would you be happier today taking no trade and knowing that you've been really disciplined and you've traded your game plan? Or would you be happier not trading your game plan and ending up being, you know, $500 up or whatever it is, or maybe multiples of if it's each account? What would you prefer? Most of you probably prefer the cash, but you've got to be process based. All right, because those bad habits will get you in trouble. You need to reward yourself for not taking a trade. You need to reward yourself for stopping out correctly. Don't just reward yourself. Don't just take a dopamine hit when you make money, okay? Because that can really get you in trouble. There's guys out there that teach really, really bad habits, and it's all about the money that they make, and they're not process-based. And it's that most traders fail on. I know, because I was the same. I got caught in those habits, learning from bad people who are add, and it will get you in trouble. All right, especially I learned in the small cap world. That's where I cut my teeth first. So I don't know if any of you saw that ticker this morning that went off. All right, I posted about it on Twitter. Let me just check what it's called. Okay, TNON. Don't know if any of you saw that this morning. That moved in 5 minutes from, I think, $5 to $120 in the pre-market in 5 minutes. If you are an add trader on the short side, you just lost everything. Yeah, well, you've learned your lesson, Ramus, and that's the most important thing. You know, it's okay to lose. It's absolutely fine to lose, especially when you start. It's like, as in blow up and stuff. It's part of the thing, part of the process. But just journal, learn your lessons. It's okay to stop out, right? Stopping out is important. Now, look, I'm not in this trade because it's not done what I want to see. Okay, it's not done what I want to see, so I'm not going to force myself in this trade. Imagine I took that breakout of IB high and I just kept adding and adding and adding and adding. What if it flushes now like we talked about and runs all these stops out? I would be with an average of maybe 30 getting run out all the way down at 85, way oversized, and that's what's going to hurt you, right? That's also why people blow up in Apex, because if you use too much size in Apex and it does this is before you're past the threshold, and it does a really big move in your direction and you don't get your size off. Here we go, it's what we talked about, right? Talked about the potential that it can do this because it built this liquidity. This is exactly the same move. See how the pattern does the same thing, same move. Lots of stops, dump. Lots of stops, dump, take them out. Maybe it finds buyers and then goes upside. Maybe it doesn't find any buyers. This is what you've got to be aware of. So as I was saying, with Apex, if you are oversized, and even if it moves in your direction, okay, and it moves 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 points in a minute, which we've seen happen many times recently, You might be up $2,000 in that 1 minute, and it might come back and take you out break even instantly. That counts as a $2,000 loss in terms of your drawdown, all right? Whereas if you used 1, 2, 3 micro contracts and it does that move and it knocks you out break even, it's really not a big deal, guys. It's not a big deal at all. So that's the key, right? Be very, very strict, be systematic, be process based. Now, if we start to roll here, okay, then all these guys are going to start getting trapped, right? Remember, this is a range. I'm not keen on playing this range. I'm not interested. I'd rather buy above it on a break and retest. But if we come under here and we come under the VWAP, I tell you what, this is potential low-hanging fruit because we didn't run it by much. So I would imagine a lot of buyers have their stops here. You've got the IB low, and then you have this purple line, which is the 20-day. It would not surprise me if the market wants to cool off on the 20-day over the weekend, pin itself right in the middle of the daily Bollinger Bands. Okay, if those who are doing my course right now, who have signed up, you will learn about all of this in detail in the course. So that was a sharp move down, starting to break structure. All right, this low, I would argue. Let's have a look. Really, it needs to break that, truly, because this low made this high, and this low, or you could argue this one, but it's soft. All right, so maybe it does that, but truly I'm not interested in still until it starts breaking these areas. It can still wash, retrap, go higher, right? Still liquidity, go higher is still potential. Holding the deep pullback flow zones right now. Again, if that is your play, some people, that is their play. They will only trade deep pullbacks, and that's a buy. That offered you great RR already. Got to trade your style. 20 minutes until a new hourly candle. And that flush, by the way, was right into value area high. Okay, so we are holding an auction above value area high, which means we might make a new level up if it sustains bids. Starting to get a little bit whippy here. You can feel it in the action. You've got lots of different traders fighting each other. Oh, my eyes get tired after 5 days at the screen. I don't know about you guys, and I'm pretty much blind, so I have to have these glasses on all the time. By the weekend, I cannot wait to get off the screens and do anything but look at the charts. Really important not to get too obsessed. Need to find that work-life balance. What do you all like to do at the weekends? What do you like to do to relax when you're off the screens? I like to hit the gym, go to the beach. It's cooled off a little bit here in Los Angeles now the last few days. Take my dog out. Okay, this is still potential, as is this. Okay, these are the two options that the market is currently presenting, just as a reminder. Mindful matters, skating, like skateboarding or boots or ice skates. I don't know where you live, so I don't know what that is. I have a couple skateboards myself, longboards, that I like taking out in Venice on the boardwalk. Okay, looking good here now. I like this structure for a potential breakout retest, right? Because on a micro time frame, we are doing this, right? So if it caught enough chasing, it's going to use the liquidity. Would be nice to see it to do it and close high on the hourly close, right? On the last 10-15 minutes, it'd be nice to see us drive up and close high. If it can't do it here, if it has to reflush and it doesn't hold this imbalance to the downside in front of that deep pullback, to be quite frank, I'm probably not going to touch anything. Four wheels, yeah. I used to like taking my motorbike out. I have quite a collection between here and London. But I've lost faith in drivers in California, to be quite honest. So I haven't been out on it in a while, because for some reason they don't know how to use their mirrors. And when you're on a bike, if you've got drivers not using their mirrors, it's so easy to get swiped off. And I've seen some horrific accidents, so tend not to go out so much now. Which is a shame, because I've got a really nice Harley that I put a lot of work into over COVID, sitting in my garage not being used. I would spend more hours at night doing research and reply into NinjaTrader. Yeah, I really like NinjaTrader. Mainly, I like its ATM strategy. I like the charts. I'm used to it. I have actually a video, if you want to check it out, on YouTube of how to make it look very similar to how I use TradingView. In terms of colors and things like that, and indicators. Oh, nice, Ramus. Yeah. Yeah, so you understand the use of them in the higher time frames on the dailies. Really, really key. So many people don't use them. I don't understand this narrative which has come out, I guess, post ICT and stuff, that indicators don't work and people don't use them. You know, my dad was at Merrill Lynch before running CIBC, and one of my best mates that I live with was at Morgan Stanley before moving to Standard Bank, head of precious metals, now trades his own book. These guys all use indicators, right? They all use indicators. I've lived with them and learnt from them for years. So it's just madness, this thought process. It's absolutely fine to read price action without them. That's fine. I can do exactly the same. But saying that they have no use or calling it lipstick is just laughable. Right, so this is starting to look good for that inverted head and shoulders right now. The issue is we have new liquidity here, right? So this is basically resistance up here. Okay, and that is not just resistance here, it's resistance on the hourly. That's the top of the hourly bar. And it just, the way it keeps getting stuffed into the initial balance, I do not like, right? I don't like it. Yes, we're doing this, and yeah, we're probably just going to do this as soon as I walk away. But I'm actually okay with that. I'd rather that than forcing something right now. Quant view. Is that Quant Tower or is that something else? Is it literally like a quant and it does some stats for you? So again, looking at the M5, it just looks a little bit gross. Now ES is getting going, okay? ES is getting going, which means the other sectors in the market are going green, because Tesla is red, Nvidia is pretty much flat, and Meta is red, but ES has got going now. So that's good. That means in terms of breadth, the market is green. Amazing to see that flip from ES. So those in the room, if you use the M10, it is just soaked off it all day. That's a really nice curl and go here on ES. Wow. Okay, so we're above IB high. We have that resistance pull. Remember, this can be like this, we talk about how to build liquidity, we need to go down, and then we had this move right here and a breakout here. So attacking here, if you took that, take a partial into it. If you're waiting, that's also absolutely fine. As in if you're waiting for entry. But if you took it long, you've got to take a partial into the high of day. 550 is still on the book, as is 600, but it's really light volume, guys. It's very, very light on contract size today. Again, this is why we take partials. Now, will it hold the flow zone momentum clouds? Again, the M5 looks absolutely gross. All right, this is not something I like seeing. Look at all this crap. All right, that's not fun to trade. The hourly is looking good. We can sustain above IB high, and we can maintain trend bullish, and the flow zones can start to expand upwards. We can have a potential run upside in the afternoon. If it just steals the liquidity and comes back down, it is going to do more of the same thing. All right, again, no base there, no reason for me to trade. I am being so patient here. I do not want to be trapped, especially on a Friday. I don't know if any of you have had it, but there is nothing worse than forcing a trade or taking a loser unnecessarily on a Friday, because then you can't come back on Saturday and rectify it and get back in the zone. You have to stew on that loss Saturday and Sunday and be in a foul mood, kicking yourself. Right, so there's nothing worse than doing it on a Friday. So we're going to give this like at least 10 minutes, maybe a bit longer if we get going, but definitely to the top of the hour or just beyond it. I need to think of an educational video to do for this weekend. So is there anything you guys want to learn about that I need to do a video on that would help you? Watching ES here to see if it bases above the IBH. VIX is getting very tight here. All right, if you think about a tapering channel, VIX is potentially offering a tapering channel, and that just makes me a little bit spooked. Yeah, VIX is starting to try and attempt here to squeeze out that tapering channel. If it successfully does it, all right, we're going to see a roll on the Qs. If it fails this push into 40 and comes back down towards lows, which it might well do, then maybe the Qs get through. It's really tight here across everything. Fibs. You want a video on fibs? Okay. That's a long video. It's a lot to do with fibs, but I can do something. That might have to be for next week. That will require a decent amount of content. All right, this looks good now. New continuation. Okay, potential new flag. See, we're building flag after flag after flag. So this is your partial run into here, please, and then hold your runners. If we're finally going to get going, it would be fun, wouldn't it, if we could finally get going. You notice how they're going to pin this high right into lunch when everyone's going to leave their desks. Still 50 on the tape, or just in front of 50. Can only really, if I'm honest, watching the tape, I only really see the liquidity providing algorithm, which is the algorithm that walks it up and walks it down, just constantly providing liquidity. There's no one else on this book who's got any interest in doing anything right now. There is a buyer down at 450. That's it. That's the biggest order on the tape. That's 134 contracts. Way down on the day, right here. Okay, which is where we broke out from. So maybe if it rolls, maybe he gets filled, but there's nothing else there. Yeah, Coop, tiring, isn't it, man? Very slow day, but it's all right. We had an amazing week. We had an amazing week, guys. So not every day is going to be magical. All right, just think about all the people who blew up their accounts in here. Even though this range is small, I guarantee you a lot of rooms, a lot of people got absolutely destroyed in here trying to force it. All right. Yeah, just hugging the initial balance. Totally. Totally. Making it hard to take a trend, making it hard to take an rotational play, which is fine. Be disciplined, be a disciplined trader. Reward yourself for being disciplined today. The issue is there's a lack of conviction in these moves, right? These are not showing me volume in the candles. They're not leaving imbalances. They're not doing anything other than chopping, right? So if you think about like yesterday and the days before when we had those beautiful moves, then we had big moves off the lows, right? So if we go back to yesterday, let's find it. All right, these moves are clear, aren't they? Right, look at these bullish moves. They leave an imbalance, leave an imbalance, leave an imbalance, leave an imbalance. All right, we get above the key levels. We soak pullbacks, push, pull back, leave an imbalance, push, pull back, leave an imbalance. We're not doing any of that right now. All right, I had all that time to go to all those charts and candlesticks and we've not moved. That tells you everything you need to know. Video on the 5-minute opening range break would be much appreciated. There is my most popular video is on the opening range break. I don't know if you've watched that or if you're asking for another one. Is that Monster PT? Is that how I say your name? But there is a video on that on my channel. So here we go. It's taking this liquidity now. You know it's going to do it right into lunch. It's sod's law, man. Into the new hour, we're going to push up. Anchored weighted profile, is it important to your trading? I use an anchored VWAP and I use a volume profile. It's a volume session profile, only to see where I feel like buyers and sellers are. Is it important? Yeah, it's as important as anything else. Anchored VWAPs, I just use them off key informational points. So big swing high and big swing lows, or big news events like CPI. Things like that. Yet again, failure, but now holding retests of the flow zones and of that initial balance. Are we going to get going? We have 90 seconds into a new hourly candle, and we just printed a new high on the hour. So I'll wait just a minute to see what we do in this new hour. Yeah, opening range break video is super popular. It's a really easy trade to take. I give you some pretty good edge there on how to trade it. Okay, 1 minute into a new hourly bar. So do we start driving up? Do we manipulate lower? Where are we going to close? Think about the previous hourly bar. Like this old hourly high is where we are right now. Okay, so the hourly bar at 10 o'clock, we are right on that wick high. If we close down, okay, we might retest the old hourly close and open, which would be at 5:11. All right, so just think about basic support and resistance principles. Really sorry this stream was a little boring today, guys. I'm really sorry. I cannot do anything about that. All right, I did not want to take these dips underneath the initial balance. When you think about it, really, if you're taking this dip, it's only offered you 30 points, really, in all this time. You know, it's not great. When you think about the last few days, we've had 300-point trades on stream. Okay, new hourly candle here. I'm going to give this a couple minutes and then I'm going to walk away. Any questions before I go, team? I just want to say thank you so much, all of you that have found me and started subscribing. Means a lot. Hopefully you're learning. And if you want to join the community, if you want to learn all these systems that I trade, you can hit that link down below. There's $100 off using code YouTube. Here is the breakout into the new hour then. As expected, straight into lunch, they're going to do the move, right? When everyone leaves the desk. So is this a wash of liquidity now? We now have a breakout on the ES. We have a breakout on the NQ. We do not have a breakout on the VIX. Do not have a breakout on the VIX. Dixie is trying to drive higher. All right, next target, if you got this long, well done, like really well done. Next target in this is to 70s, and after that 605, and after that right into 700. All right, this is the move we wanted. We wanted that trend day up to close the week, but really, I really wanted it to happen earlier than this. But we are in bullish. Look, everything is bullish. This was a pullback buy. So the original buy signal is here. This was a pullback buy signal if you're just following the indicator and nothing else. Okay, so they're starting to add liquidity above now. They want to draw it. If it can get through 50 and base, okay, so we're through 50. If it can base, they are trying to draw it towards that 600. That's the only seller, all right, passive seller, as in a limit seller. He's got 63 contracts at 600, sorry, not at 700. There's no one up above that, or not of any size. Okay, they need to hold this. Again, if this move here was to sell, what do you have? Where's the liquidity? What can we use? That's what you need to be asking yourself. If it holds, all right, then we're looking for the same thing over and over again. But this right here is a huge amount of liquidity. This was a volume candle, all right? So if you had breakout buyer, breakout buyer, breakout buyer, breakout buyer, that can be paired off with smart money, long, who's selling into their breakouts, right? So it means they have the liquidity to sell into. Hope that makes sense. If not, I will explain it very, very quickly before I leave. But you need to think about pairing things off. All right, so we're now holding potentially this very, very small demand order block on an M1. All right, so here's your imbalance level. All right, so we're holding this. Can it then trend back up? All right, you do not want to see this break down here if you're bullish. Again, holding momentum clouds. Everything's being held for now. We are in trend bull. Multi-time frame trend bull. We're above everything we need to be above. Remember, high time frame algorithm is way, way down here right now. Which means if we're going to do a high time frame pullback, it can come down here. Not today. It's not going to do that today unless something changes. But next week, it can still be bullish and do a high time frame pullback. Even this move, really, you know, it looks big, but it's only like 25, 30 points. It's not even that great, is it? And it looks like they sold into it for now. So do they refresh buy here? I'm definitely not trading this. There's hidden divergence against what? What are you looking at the divergence with? Here is the flush. Okay, so they sold on that move up like we talked about through volume. Very, very similar to a penny stock type move, this. Even that sell, very, very similar. All right, so get the buyers to buy the breakout, extension up, use their buys to pair off the sells. And then straight back to IB high. All right, straight back to IB high. So what am I thinking this afternoon? For those who hang around and trade, I will not be trading, even off air, I will not be trading this afternoon. I still have these targets, okay? There are still targets looming up here of 70, 605, and 695. But to get there, you would need to see the market really show a reason to. And right now, it is not, all right? They paired that off really nice with the sell. So for me, they just trapped all the buyers above here, okay, who didn't sell on the extension, and they will target these areas now. Right, all these areas are easy areas to target of liquidity, because this, remember we talked about it, this took so long to chop and build to eventually do that, which they sold into, slam it, easy runs back down now. Or if they can't run it down, all right, then they're just gonna soak and chop in this zone, all right? Same zone. So into the rest of the day, you are either looking for soaks and extensions above it. It'd be nice if I stopped drawing, wouldn't it? Okay, let's put a channel on here. There is a clear channel, sort of like this. Okay, and the underside probably has a few layers. One here. All right, if they're gonna roll this, that is your left shoulder liquidity. That is likely to be your head, and your right shoulder be here. You don't need to take the right shoulder, right? You need to be aware of this range. Okay, something like this will be the best play to come and attack this level, those equal lows, and this right here, the IB low, right? That's an easy run on liquidity. Ladies, Brian, be very aware of these lower time frame algos and VWAPs, because these will continue to trend up. So it can just do this and just chop all day, especially after the week we've had. All right, so if it's going to go lower, that's what it's going to do. If it's going to go higher, I'm watching this range right here. Does it do this and reclaim? Does it hold it and start to grind back up? But really, the reason I'm not going to trade the rest of the day is I'm not interested in this price action. Right, look at this price action. This really, if it had enough liquidity, should have gone, and it didn't. So you've got to ask yourself why. Not enough people are trapped. Right, there is not enough shorts trapped in it, and there are not enough longs participating into the weekend. Okay, so it's not ready to do it. If you compare that to trends we've had the rest of the week, all right, look at the difference in trend. Right, this is the same kind of move right here. Inverted head and shoulders, clear trend. Very clear trend for really, really deep pushes. All right, and then shallow pullbacks, but deep pushes, as in that's a big push, shallow pullback, big push, shallow pullback, big push, rinse, repeat until we get that dunk right down to the lower time frame algo. All right, soaked right off it in here. Okay, right off it before a reclaim. So on trend days, it will be clear because the trend will be nice and easy to play. On chop days like today, it's just not going to be fun to participate in. And you have to see money take money. Okay, so all the time we're back inside this initial balance, potentially lower prices, lower time frame algo, previous day high, previous day close, VWAP, this channel, and the IB low, and these relative equal lows right here. All right, these are all potential draws. Not easy action, all right? Really, really not easy action to do anything with. All right, I really did not make a lot of money today. Again, I traded sim in the morning, as in not, I just do one test. I talked about it yesterday. I always do one test in the morning to make sure I don't have lag or anything like that. To the upside on Q momentum. Oh, you're talking about the divergence. I don't know what Q momentum is. Do you mean the Q's momentum? I don't know what you're necessarily referring to. All right, but I'm going to call it a day. I will think of a video to do at the weekend. Jen, it probably won't be Fibonacci's because that is a very big detailed video, unless I can think of something, a nice easy way to do it for you, because we need to talk about the 30%, the fair value 50%, and the deeper retracements and multiple timeframes. That's probably a very long video, but I'll think of something. Please trade safe. Please, please, please. If you are hanging around on a Friday afternoon to trade, just remember the best moves of the week have happened. Okay, volume is starting to dry up now. We are going to go into consolidation. Unless something changes, all right, it's very, very easy to give back on a Friday. Don't end your week with a loss, all right, giving back a load of money that you'd worked hard to make. There is nothing worse than ending your week with a nasty loss, all right? If you want to do the course, all right, there is a sale on right now. It's $399, one-off fee, 20-hour in-depth course. You get access to the Discord room with a load of traders who are on chat right now. And you also get the flow zone indicator for free and another flow zone indicator as well, and anything else that I make in the future. I will be back Monday. I will do an educational video over the weekend. Until then, as always, use hard stops, right? Use hard stops. I'll see you real soon.